Good morning, faculty and staff of National Lewis University. My name is Audra Lewis, and this is my program evaluation of 3D schools by junior achievement. The purpose of this study is to explore the impact of 3D schools framework on a student's college and career readiness. The primary reason for selecting to look deeply into 3D schools is I believe in the mission and vision to reshape the delivery of instruction in America's schools to replicate the learning environment to the workforce. 3D schools partners with school districts across the nation to create a school within a school model, a cohort of sorts. Through their model, they have a group of dedicated educators that work on site. Every school, they staff with a school director, a case experience director, and an instructional supports director. You also, from these supports, get training through their Summer Institute for Professional Development to learn how to implement company-based learning, and so you end up with consistent support through the entire school year. Then they take the cohort and put them into a relevant learning environment. So in their environment, all students are required to take a launch class, and in the launch class is the class where business professionals come in and work with students to solve the case challenge question. So they come in and they give background about their business, their organization, and then they present to them the real world problem that their business is having. And then they discuss the competency that is the focus of the case challenge. And then students can have a chance to also ask questions to the business partner about the case. After the case launch, the students come back, they break into groups, and they work on a project together in collaborative groups. And in their groups, they have somewhat of like a project manager who gives deadlines and assignments to each person on the team to have things accomplished by the time that students go through business coaching. So the business professionals will return back to the campus and listen to solutions that students offer. And then they'll give them feedback, and then the students will take that feedback and implement them into their presentations and present for internal judging. From internal judging, we will pick the top 4 solutions to go to culminating event. The business professionals return back to the campus, usually an executive level from that organization, to listen to the top 4 solutions, and then they pick the winner from there. Through that model, it creates a work-based immersion that happens within that launch class. So it's very much like having a job. The kids are even required to, when they present, to be dressed like they are attending a job interview. In their structure, we have weekly PLCs in common planning. So all the content teachers and the launch teacher, it's a co-curricular model design. We meet weekly to discuss trends across our cohort. We celebrate student successes. We talk about how we're implementing competencies within our content or within our classroom. We share those ideas, and then of course we discuss students that might be struggling and how we can help, how we can help them or implement whatever we can do to make sure they're successful within the cohort through all classes. And then that all together creates a dynamic learning culture where the students believe they're in some, like 3D is something special, that they have an opportunity that nobody else on the campus has, as well as the educators on campus. So we have like what we call our 3D family, and we treat each other like family. We meet, we talk, relationships are a priority, as well as evidence-based practices and focuses within our classrooms. The goal of this evaluation is to promote program awareness of 3D schools by junior achievement to bridge the gap of what students learn in the classroom and the real world around them. My overall reaching question that I'm investigating is, what impact does 3D schools have on the host school's graduation rate? I'll be looking closely at the cohort's attendance rate versus the attendance rate of the traditional student that's not in the cohort. We'll also be looking closely at state score assessments for graduation requirements, looking at to see if those scores are in fact higher than students not enrolled in 3DE. And then of course looking at teacher buy-in and teacher recommendation of the model and how they feel about the instruction and the services that students are receiving. The 3Ds framework is comparable to Wagner's theories of the 7 survival skills because they both believe there's a correlation to schooling and our economy, as well as that the United States is not producing citizens that can compete globally. Like Wagner, 3D schools theories that our nation requires a shift in instructional design to make the classroom replicate the workforce. So within the 3D cohort, there's a co-curricular focus on a competency skill set, much like the survival skills, to improve student outcomes, achievement, and instructional methods. Rodriguez, like Wagner, and 3DE believe that we need an instructional shift in the classrooms to replicate the technology age. We need to shift from the manufacturing paradigm to our technology informational paradigm that we are currently in to make students' experience in education replicate that workforce. And then Rodriguez states about the increase in engagement will increase student outcomes. And we all know that engagement is the pathway to student achievement. Now, if we have student achievement, then we will produce citizens who can compete globally. Hosford and Wagner both stated that they have a link between our economy, and schooling. There is a need to advocate to promote a national policy to shift instructional design and create equity in schools. Currently, there is no national policy on equity within our United States and in our schools. All the authors suggest, and you can infer from your reading, that our schools that serve economically disadvantaged scholars, that the curriculum lacks rigor. 3D schools, they're creating a model of engagement with curriculum that can be replicated that prioritizes competencies over testing. Thus, the framework is an opportunity for equity, which is creating a need for change in national policy. Thank you. Do you have any questions?